Think you don't have time to make your own gift tags? Let me show you a few. You might be surprised. I want to show you 5 cards, but in those 5 cards, I've got 10 tips that will make your tag making go super quick. So tip number 1, pick a stamp set and stick with only one stamp set. And what we're going to do is just pick out a stamp set that has a to, from, and just a Merry Christmas. Something that's fairly small that's going to fit on a variety of different size tags. The next tip is something that you probably already do now. But when you have a bundle or a stamp set, make sure that you keep all of those extras that you use, that you create when you're making cards or you're making 3D items, and save them in a little clear cello bag and put it in with your stamps, because then you're just going to pull them out and you're going to use them, and this is the perfect time. So I've just used hang an ornament, and I have some pieces, the die cut pieces already cut out. And another tip is that we want to use some really sparkly paper, and you want to use up some scraps. So these tiny little pieces, they would be great. So we want something that's really glitzy so that it really catches the eye underneath the Christmas tree. I had already pre-cut this little bauble here. So we're going to start with this one, and we're going to cut it out, just taking out these little ticks here. And the ticks just allow it to hold on there in case you wanted to have sort of a tearaway kind of tag. But we're going to use the tag like this. So I have a little bit of my glitzy paper, and this is from the Hang and Ornament dies. And so I've got some of my glitzy paper here. I have this one right there, and I'm just going to glue that right on. Just take your liquid glue and get that over everywhere. And then just place that right in the middle of your ornament. And just give it a couple seconds to sort of set up. And then we're going to use some really fabulous embellishments. And that's another tip as well. But what we're going to do is, because we have glitzy paper and a little bit rough paper, we're going to put down just a little bit of our glue. Now you want to make sure that you give your glimmer paper just a little bit of time to set up, because it will take a little bit longer than our cardstock does. So just 5 little dots of glue. Pull in take your pick tool, and then we're just going to decorate, and you can decide what size you want to use. I usually start in the middle, go to either side. And although these are adhesive backed, adding that little bit of glue will just make sure that they're going to stick a little bit longer. Then all you have to do is take a little bit of your ribbon, and you're going to string that through the hole. Now, if you find the holes a little bit too small, just take a larger hole punch and punch that out. Or if you don't want to put any string on it at all, just put another little embellishment right at the top. So that one isn't a tip I have down, but you can just do that and put that right onto your present. Now, when you use a piece that is darker, what you also have to do is you have to pull in a punch, and you're going to do your to, from on your white paper, and you're going to do a punch that goes right on the back. So there's your tag there, or there's another alternative. Now, if you wanted to fancy that up just a little bit, let's say you have a little bit more time, what you could do is just take the bauble or the ornament, and you can run it through an embossing folder and then just decorate it with some different embellishments. But that's not really something that you would do maybe last minute. But we do want to do our next one with a little bit of embellishing with our dry embossing. So here we're going to use our glitzy paper again, and what we're going to do is you want to create a whole page of the embossed element. So you want to put your paper in, and you want to run that through, and then what you get is a beautiful embossed piece. And this time you're going to cut it out again with the die. Try and get as many as you can. I think I might just be able to get 2, maybe not, on there. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut that one out as well. And what's great about the back of this one is that it is white, so you can stamp directly on it. And I would stamp on it now. So we're just going to do our to, from on it. Now, you could have also cut these all out, stamped on the back of them, and then run them through the embossing folder. That would work too, because this is a little bumpy. So I would try and stamp this, and if it doesn't work, then I would put it on top of a piece of white, just like we did with the other one. But that's okay like that. Now I've pulled in some scraps that I did have already pre-cut, again in that little plastic bag. Put a little bit of glue at the top and then just put your mistletoe leaves on there, or your holly leaves, that's what those are, not mistletoe. Put those on, and then you're going to use some great embellishments again. And this time I'm going to use a set of 3 right at the top. Okay, and you don't need any writing on the front of it. So you have your bauble like that. Here's the other one that I did, and this one is done with the dashing designs. So one thing to keep in mind is that you want an embossing folder that has fairly small pieces to it. So you don't want something that has a great big swirl and nothing down here, because you're not going to be able to get that uniform throughout the tag. So you can leave it as is and just put that on with some tape, or you can put it also on with a little piece of baker's twine. So the next tip I have is that you want to invest in a good set of tags. This one here has been my go-to set of tags for quite a while, and why I like it. It has different shape and it just has variety. So this one also has some dies. We're not going to use them today, but it has some dies for some all-occasion type cards that you could make. Now what I always do is I cut a whole bunch of dies at one time. So I've decided on a color palette, and so I'm also going to suggest for a tip that you keep your colors to a limited palette. You want white, and we're just using our greens here. This is shaded spruce and this is real red, and we are going to cut all of them out at once. So what I would do is just take all of those and put them onto your cardstock, and then you're going to run them through at one time, and then you're going to do the different colors as well. And that way you will have lots of tags that you can choose from for your tags you're going to be making at the last minute. Now that set as of today, which is December 11th, 2024, is still in stock and you can still get it. But one that maybe would be a great one for you is the Greetings of the Season bundle. So this one I've used a lot, and I love how it has the mix of script writing and sort of the plain font, but it has all different shape tags as well. And there's quite a few different tags on here. You can get a lot of variety, big and small, and that's what they all look like when they're cut out. So it's a great one that you might want to think about picking up. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to use some adhesive sheets. So again, this is another quick way that you can take something that's already done and put it onto a tag. So I had already put on the back of this snowflake, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but I put on the back of my glimmer paper some of the double-sided adhesive sheets. And it comes where you have 12 in a pack, and these will last you a long, long time. But it saves you time in having to put glue on there. So I'm going to just take this off. So it's not on the whole thing, but it's on a good portion of it. And then that's just going to go right onto my tag. And then if you do need to put just 1 or 2 little dots of glue, that won't take you very long to do. And put it onto the snowflake as opposed to on the tag. I'm hoping that you can see that. And then just hold that down so that it sets up. Now what we're going to need to do for this one as well, because we have a darker piece of cardstock, it's going to be harder to stamp on. And so that's where you're going to pull in a smaller circle and do your to from on there. Now you notice too, I did pre-string my tag. So sitting in front of the TV is a great way to do that. And you do want a little bit of glitz on this one. So let's do this one in this case. And you're just going to add even more glitz than what's there. So those are super quick. The next thing that we want to do is we want to take some of our designer series paper. So designer series paper is great because it's got lots of texture, lots of interest going on, or pick one that does anyway, and we're going to put it onto a tag. So this time I have a larger tag and it is out of that greetings of the season, and I do have the double-sided adhesive on the back of this. So you do want to really go for some of the intricate dies that you have, and I know that most of you probably all have intricate dies. Use those. This is the perfect place to use them. And you're just going to put your tree down and then give a Merry Christmas maybe over here. Ink that up properly. Merry Christmas. And you can do your to from on the back. We don't have anything really bumpy yet. Do your to from on the back. And then instead of doing the baker's twine, what you can also do is just a bit of glitzy ribbon on it as well. And I would put this on with a glue dot and cover up that hole. So make your bows in front of the TV as well. Just sit and make a whole bunch of them, and then they're waiting for you to put onto your tags. Go, and that will be sticky on the back, so just know that when you put it onto your Christmas present. And I'm just going to trim that off. Maybe this one too. Okay, and there's that tag. Now if you wanted to, you could put some embellishments right onto the tree. I did for this one. I just put some different embellishments, so that's up to you, but that's another step, so that might take you a little bit too long to do. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is thinking minimal. So we often want to do big and bold, but let's not do that. Let's actually think about doing something really small, like a little tiny tag like this would be great if you were making a little hot chocolate packet or something like that for somebody. Stick your Merry Christmas on there, and then we're just going to use an embellishment, and it's going to go right over top here. So even though this is not a Christmas tag, I thought that looked a little bit like a snowflake. And again, pre-tie this, and if you don't want to pre-tie it, take another one of your embellishments and put it over top. So I hope you liked all those tips and the tags, and that when you're busy creating and packaging up your gifts for Christmas, that you think about the quickest way that you can make them and use some of these tips. Thanks very much for joining me. My name is Joanne Rogers, and you can find me over at Design with Jo, where you can sign yourself up for a free card making tutorial over at designwithjo.ca. Thanks. Have a great paper crafting day.